Hey everybody, it's Chuckie Thomas, the ADHD Screenwriter. Going to do something a little different today. Maybe you watched the first 30-minute challenge that we did about the Squid War. If you didn't, go watch that. What we're going to do today is develop that story a little bit further and eventually going to get a full outline and maybe even write the full script. But what we're going to do today is do some character work, some world building, and then at the end, do another outline to see how much further we've gotten, and then do it again until we've got a full story. So let's get started. All right, so thanks again for watching. Like it, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. So the way this is gonna work is I'm going to briefly go over the outline in case you didn't watch that video, or maybe it's been a minute. Like for me, it's been a minute, so I had to recap it a little bit. And then I'm going to do some work and then do another outline. So this won't probably be a 30-minute thing. This will just be some, maybe you got 10 minutes to sit down and do some light work in between lunch and your next gig or something, whatever. You got like 10 minutes so you can do some quick script work. This is what this basically is. So to recap, Great Squid War. We don't have a title yet, but whatever, who cares? We'll get that eventually. The opening image was a bunch of war images fighting. We're very confused. It's very confusing because the main character is confused, you know, as we are. This is a mystery. Opening hook is fighting. The main character is injured, but it's like a weird injury. It's like an inhuman injury that we're not sure what's going on still. Normal world main character, he's living his life as a veteran. Good friends, solid relationship. He's haunted by this war that he went through. But the inciting incident, which is the premise of this thing, is that he finds out, whoops, there was no great Squid War that he talked about like all this time. Like, there were no inhuman fight. Like, what are you talking about? There were no monsters. You know, all these images he has in his brain, everybody's telling him it's not real. Like, what are you talking about? Even his girlfriend, you know, he's got this great girlfriend, but she's like, I don't know what you're talking about, and I don't believe you. Like, you need to go to therapy or something. This is crazy. And he investigates and looks for evidence that this war happened. It's all gone. Like, is his life a lie? What's going on? So at the end of the first act, he finds there's a massive conspiracy that the government and the squids that he was fighting in this war are working together. He had this great commander that he liked a lot, who was killed in the war. Or actually, I don't think we said it was a war or not, but he died at some point. Maybe after the war. That actually makes more sense. But he really looked up to this guy. You know, it's like his hero. But he has nobody to turn to, in other words. There's nobody to corroborate his story. So at the midpoint, we have his friends aren't trustworthy. He overhears them like, you know, we got to stop this guy or whatever. So maybe they're in on it or something, but there's something wrong with them and he can't trust them. So they're looking for him. So he's got to flee. Like his life is falling apart. Second act, into the second act, all is lost. Like his girlfriend is not only doesn't believe him and is breaking up with him. She's a squid. She's one of them. Oh man. So he doesn't have a girlfriend. He doesn't have friends. He doesn't have a job. Nobody trusts him. Like it's all gone. So the only thing he has to do is fight back. He decides. So the climax is he's gonna find. Turns out his commander, the old commander, that he thought was dead, is still alive. He confronts him. Turns out he's a squid too. He's all part of the conspiracy, and maybe there's something about them interbreeding or something. We didn't quite figure that one out because, again, it was a basic outline. The resolution, he's got to have to fight the commander, you know, big action sequence, whatever. He exposes that he was a squid, or he finds out he's a squid and stops him. And he's going to expose the conspiracy, but we decided the final image is that he's going to hand off the evidence, like the end of Watchmen. The evidence is going to be in the right hands, the underground network, but we're not going to see what happens with that. We're not going to see if it gets resolved or not. We care about the main character who, for the first time, is going to go live a quiet life out in the woods or something, in any case, no more being haunted by the war. He's finally going to have peace. So that's his full arc. So normally what I would do next is we have, I would say, a rough sketch of a main character. We just got to build this guy up. We don't know anything about him other than that he was in the war and he wants peace. And he's a soldier. He wants a quiet life. So that would be my first thing. So give him a temporary name. Let's call him Mac, I guess. I don't know. That'll probably change. I usually start with just placeholder names. Sometimes they fit, sometimes they don't. For some reason, just Mac popped in my head, so we'll go with Mac. So I kind of like to go back further than maybe even like his childhood. Like what kind of person would this soldier, well, like where would he come from? You know, if he wants a peaceful life, I feel like that at some point he knew what a peaceful life meant, or like what it is. So let's say he grew up in, I don't know, let's say a farm, just real simple stuff. He knew what peace was. As a child, you know, I think it's going to get disrupted at some point. I feel like he's been at war for even longer than before he went to war, right? It's like his whole life. If that's his arc, is to find peace, he's going to be looking for this for a long time. So maybe the farm was taken over by a bank or something. I don't know. Corporation. In other words, he was betrayed, and his family was betrayed early on. And that goes with the whole theme of betrayal that he's going to find throughout the whole film, because apparently everybody's a squid in this world. So I really like that. His parents, maybe his parents, he watched his parents wither away. Real rough stuff. We're already getting an idea of this person. Like, what kind of adult would a child who went through all this early grow up to be, right? Like, how would you trust anybody? And that's what makes it so tragic, I think, later on during the normal world section, that he has all this stuff. He's got a girlfriend, he's got friends, he has this solid job, he's living his life, and it's going to be all taken away from him. So I think that's really good. He's just had this really traumatic childhood, watched his parents wither away to nothing. The farm was taken away from them. Maybe he had to go live in like foster homes or something. Foster homes. I like that. He's displaced. He was displaced. Never felt like he had a home again. And that's what he's looking for at the end. And he finally finds at the end, he finds this quiet, peaceful home. So let's see, goes into the war. So this part makes me think of like what the world's going to be like. We're still focusing on the main character, but we have to think about what the actual Squid War was. It could be something real basic, like they just invasion. This will be in the world building section more, but again, this is the main character. Invasion happens, and he immediately is like, I'm in. He signs up for maybe there was inklings that this is squids. Maybe there was inklings this was going to happen at some point. And we've got the Space Force now. This in America. Maybe it like becomes like a real thing, and there's like a lot of intergalactic things coming at Earth. The squids are the first thing that get through. Squids get through some sort of defense. Yeah, that makes sense, especially with the whole conspiracy thing. Like, how did this happen? That we were set up. We were set up to stop this. Like, how did they get through? get through defenses. How? Question mark. Conspiracy later. But yeah, he never really thought about it. He was just there to fight. He was just there to fight. Okay. Yeah. But during the actual war, during war, he starts moving up. He's strangely adept at this kind of thing. He takes to it. It's just since he's had so much a lot of chaos in his beginning of his life, he kind of thrives in the Space Force because it gives him structure that he didn't have. So he craved that structure. Crave structure. That's good. And that's why he kind of glommed onto this commander guy. Commander Stomp. I don't know. Stompy. That will be a temporary name. Because he will not be Stompy. Stumpy. Wait, Stumpy. Maybe he lost an arm. I don't know. I'll change that. That's why he glommed onto this guy so much. Because he's like, yeah, you're the structure I needed. You know, I didn't have my parents watch the whole thing fade away and been in the foster system. But now I've got this strong leader. It makes it worse when he betrays them later on. Especially when he finds out he's a squid somehow, which we got to figure that one out. We'll get to that later. Again, still we're focused on Mac, the farm boy. So things go wrong. Things go very wrong. Maybe their platoon gets overrun. And the squids, the squids aren't going to, it's got to be like a mental thing too. Because I don't think it would just be like an attack, like, oh, they slashed them or something. That's not interesting. It's going to have something to do like, sort of like the Monsters in Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise, which I think I talked about in the outline challenge. That there's like a time displacement thing in that one, but this could be like a mental displacement. Especially since they're going to have to do all this conspiracy and like cover up and make people not remember what they actually went through. So I feel like there's a mental attack, some sort of psychic attack or something. But because they fought them off and they won, technically, in a way, at least the war, that they were able to stop it for a while, but whatever happened in this conspiracy with the commander and all the other stuff, it came back. And that's why all of a sudden nobody can remember this war. So the squids went away for a while. Came back the very next day, like the cat. Yeah, so in the normal world here section, we will learn a lot about Mac. So that he's starting to, we see he's got the crave structure, and that's what he has in the beginning. He's got friends. He's got the girlfriend. He has a solid job. Like it's a semi peaceful life because he's got the memories of the war, but everything else is pretty good. It's just he can't break away from these memories. Yeah, I'm not sure what his job is. Probably something with his hands, something simple probably. I mean, he grew up as a farm boy. So he probably knows how to do that kind of stuff, manual labor. I don't know if he works out in the country or not, but I don't think so. I don't know, some sort of trade that he's able to just focus on that, right? And it's nothing too taxing. It just lets him his mind float away and he can just concentrate on what he's doing. Some sort of trade. Maybe structure makes it bricklaying, right? Something like that ties into the theme of what he wants. It's just structure and building a life. That's good. Something, I mean, bricklayer, something like that. I think that's pretty good. I'll just go ahead and write that down. I don't mind that. The girlfriends, that relationship's got to be developed. I need to, maybe next time I'll do her sheet. Because she's a pretty big character, especially at the end. We find out she's a squid. So we got to figure out how that works. Maybe I'll switch over to that, actually. So this would be the world building section. So this is, I mentioned world building. So I mentioned the squids came and got through defenses somehow. But Space Force was set up to deflect these kind of things. And it's like it's implied, or maybe even shown, this has happened before. But they were set up to stop them. They were ready for them. But then they got through and nobody knows what happened. Other aliens, deflected, whatever. So then just with this information, we can build off of, think of what a world like this would look like with people inhabit it, right? Like, people know that aliens exist. That they have tried to invade. So they're probably either terrified or, I don't know, like very distrustful probably. I would imagine. Afraid to trust. So there's there's a lot of tension between everybody. It's kind of a thriller because you don't know, especially when you find out people are squids, you don't know who is a squid. So yeah, there's a lot of distrust that goes along with that theme too. It's probably kind of a militarized world, like Starship Troopers or something. Because if aliens are invading that much, or trying to anyway, then they have to have these defenses set up. So it's probably very militarized. Or like Iron Man, Tony Stark would say, pseudo armor around the world. It might be literally something like that. And it makes it even stranger that these squids got through and were able to attack all it, So pseudo armor around the world. So very insular. Like, it would be hard. I feel like it would be hard for anybody to really trust anything that's going on at this point. Or on the opposite end, they could all just be banded together, like Earth first, maybe there's even contact with other planets or something at this point. Like, I mean, if they know aliens exist, and there's all of a sudden an intergalactic community about this kind of thing, maybe they're in contact with them, but they're just like, don't come here. Do not come to Earth. So again, very distrustful, which goes with the theme. Kind of like that, actually. In contact with other species, other planets. And species. Don't come here. That could come into place. See, I don't mind that because that can come into play later too. The main character could even try and contact some of these people, or not people, but other species or whatever. That could be part of the conspiracy that he finds out, right? So I don't mind that. That's just introducing that. All of a sudden, it expands the world a lot, or into space, literally. So that's pretty good. I feel like as far as the world of the military, the whole commander thing, we have to figure out how the squids got through. We don't have to figure it out in this episode. That's definitely a thing that needs to be figured out. Why? The real question actually is why are like the commander? Let's see, the commander especially. Why is he a squid? Why was he working with the squids? Was he already a squid before the war? Did he turn into a squid? Did he do something like joined with the squids? You know, is this like the Borg where you can just join the squids? Maybe that's interesting. Maybe you could become a squid. Maybe it's like, I don't know. Maybe the commander's like, you know, the only way through, the only way to live anymore as people is to become squids or something. I kind of like that. They become a squid. Become a squid. Kind of like, I don't know. It's not exactly the same, but like a Half-Life, the video game where the head crabs will take over the person, and they just become that walking head crab with a body, something like that. But I think at this point, I don't know, shape shifting or something. Again, we have to figure this out at some point. It doesn't have to be in this episode, but we have to. That's part of the whole thing. They become a squid. Need to figure that out. And furthermore, how did the squids, like, where do they come from? How do the squids work? How do the squids work? Where come from squids? Question mark. Obviously another planet, but like, what does their planet look like? That's another world building we need to do at some point. Like, why are they coming here? Why are they attacking? Why are people turning into them? Why do they want that? You know, there's a lot of questions to be answered at this point, which is fine. That's very fun, and that's fun stuff that we can do. We can maybe think of this just for a second, and then we'll do another outline, and then we'll call it. Why do squids come here? I think that's the main question that we can solve right now. It's got to be resources. It's always, you know, it's an invasion. Food. We're trying to take over people to eat them. What are some of the other common ones? It's always just like, I don't know. They can use this as a jumping off point if there's an intergalactic community of other aliens out there. It's going to be just like taking over Earth as a way to get to other planets. You know, some of these other species that we mentioned up top here, are they, maybe they're kind of closed off from the squids and they want to take over them, but we're just like a halfway point, which makes it even worse. I think that the commander is like, oh, I want to be a squid for no reason, for like garbage reasons. Like, they're just taking over the planet just as a subway station. That makes it even worse, and the betrayal theme gets even stronger with that. Like, are you serious, dude? Like, you were like my hero, and you became a squid to become like a MARTA station. That's crazy. All right, so I kind of like that. They're taking, especially since Earth is now very militarized, they think they can exploit that. Yeah, and maybe the commander and anybody else who became a squid, I think it's something as simple as like, yeah, we want the same thing. Like, we want to be part of this community, whatever. And we're tired of this militarized Earth. You know, like, we're tired of the way we're living, kind of thing. You know, it could be something as simple as that. I was like, this has no endpoint. This has no real endpoint. What is the endpoint here? The squids are at least trying to do something, which is it's kind of insane thing to turn into a squid for that, but I think it works. So to turn Earth into a jumping point, like almost like it's in the middle of like light speed point or something. Like they have to take it over to be able to get to the rest of the community to take them over or something. I don't mind that. So the betrayal of the commander is worse. Because he did it basically for nothing. And again, all Mac wants to do is have a peaceful life on just a plot of land somewhere. But he's got to deal with all these other people and all this other garbage. Everybody's betraying him. His entire planet is betraying him. He just wants to live a life without memories haunting him. All right, so let's go back to the outline. All right. So now we can amend it a little bit. So opening images. I still think the opening image has got to be, like the confusion that we're feeling, that he's feeling. Maybe it's almost presented like a dream, maybe. So fighting in the war, but it's very confusing. We can't get like a grip on anything, on what's happening. Because he can't. Like he's having these visions all the time, and he can't control them. They're just hitting him all the time. He's dreaming about them. They pop up at random times. He eats somebody eats a piece of calamari. He's like, no, I don't know. So now we have a better idea of the opening hook, though. Before it was just like, some sort of inhuman something happens to him. But now Mac, now we know his at least temporary name, gets injured. But the injury isn't just physical. We know this now. There's sort of like a psychic terror that's instilled into him. Like the squids attack physically, sure, but they're also going into like your mind, your body, your soul, like trying to take over. That's what they've been doing. That's their whole purpose. So trying to take over, and maybe he was even close to being actually fully taken over before they got fought back, the squids. Max survives just in time. So that's pretty good. Normal world, Mac. He's still got his girlfriend. We don't know who she is yet, but that's okay. His buddies. They're not war buddies. They're just people that he's met at maybe his job. This works as a bricklayer. So we know that now. Brick by brick, he is building his life that he wants. He's very close to getting it, but it is taken away. But he still has the traumatic memories, trauma, dreams, etc., visions. Inciting incident is... So, okay, hold on. Part of a normal world is that he doesn't talk about the war. But inciting incident, something has to happen, I think. Like he has to like a really violent reaction to something, to a dream, or somebody pops a balloon or something like that. Maybe he's I don't know. There's something that really triggers something very strong. I'm not sure what that is yet, but that's okay. We'll get there. But this is new information. He's reacting to it, and his girlfriend is like, "What is wrong with you? You have to talk about this." So he opens up, talks about the war, talks about squids, And she says, "What are you talking about?" There are no squids. Now we know Space Force is here and is controlling everything. She says Space Force would not let that happen. New information. Because they're controlling everything. They're stopping all this. So the end of the first act. Alright. So originally we had... Yeah, massive conspiracy, the government squids work together. So that was very vague. But now we have a better idea. Now, I still like the idea of the other species being out there. I don't think he would necessarily get there yet. So how would he find out more information about this massive conspiracy? He's doing research, contacting old war buddies. Yeah, obviously. But they're also like turning him down. Like either like don't talk to, you're going crazy, or we can't talk about this kind of thing. But one person opens up. Maybe somebody from back home, or like somebody he met in the foster system, somebody like trustworthy that he knew. And now that we know that's where he grew up, we can use that information. I like that. Somebody from the foster system that he grew up with. So he knows he can trust them, and they trust each other. So this other person's like, yeah, look, I can't tell you everything. There's a huge conspiracy going on. We're doomed or whatever. Maybe this person dies or something. Midpoint is when his buddies start acting funny. So I think in between the end of the first act and the midpoint is when he starts trying to contact some of these other species, and maybe he goes underground. Yeah, because we introduced the underground network at the very end. So he's probably got to start talking to those people now, and that's where we get communication with like another planet or something, some other species. And he starts to get an idea of like, there's something weird going on. And the squids obviously exist. They tell him that much anyway. But the buddies, his buddies from work. Okay, so maybe it's the whole bricklayer thing. So maybe they were there to kind of keep an eye on him. Keep an eye on him. So all of a sudden his life is a lie, that he's got these friends that he thought were just friends, but they've been sit there to watch him. Because he was almost killed by that squid and almost taken over, they know he's susceptible to influence. Okay, that's pretty good. In the second act, I mean, the whole girlfriend turning into a squid thing. Now we know more about that because of the world building that we've done. She is of the mind that there is no future in just pure humanity. That it's time to go out to open themselves up to the rest of space. And he's like, yeah, but that doesn't involve turning yourself into a squid. there are ways of doing this, and I've met other species. None of them are doing this. It's just these squids. And they're like, okay. But she doesn't care. So he loses everything. He's obviously lost his job at the bricklayer, as a bricklayer, because his friends were just there to keep an eye on him. So that's gone. I mean, yeah, he doesn't have a home anymore. It's all gone. So loses everything. That's pretty much the same. So now that he's lost everything, the climax is he's gotten information going into the end of the second act that his old commander buddy is still alive. You're still alive. He thought he died after the war. Got to figure that one out. Maybe it was like suicide or something really traumatic that, you know, he just couldn't believe that he would do this. And it turns out he didn't. He's still alive. He's part of the conspiracy. He has betrayed Mac and Earth just for almost no reason whatsoever. Just pure greed. Wanting to. Maybe he was Maybe he was promised a high-ranking position. Maybe he's disgraced. Actually, the commander. That's not bad. He was disgraced in the Space Force, and the Squids promised him a high-ranking position in their Squid Army. Position in the Squid Army. Oh, that's pretty good. He was disgraced, yeah. So yeah, they're gonna Mac. He's gonna something about Mac makes him be able to fight the commander. Probably being in touch with the Squids. That when the Squid almost killed him back in the day, he's got some sort of connection or something. But he's got to be able to fight off the psychic stuff. That's part of it. It's not just a physical thing; it's a psychic thing. So he's got that connection. Lets him connect. Mac connection with Squid lets him fight. Psychic powers, whatever. Resolution, he's gonna kill the commander. Whatever. Camille's commander. And he gets the information. Maybe he even just records the commander talking about it. That's kind of tropey, but whatever. Records commander, and the final image is that he's going to, well, it's technically in the resolution. He hands off this info to the underground network that we talked about before, and then the final image, peace, and that's all. That's really it. Peaceful life. Goes off, lives out in the woods somewhere, maybe back at a farm. Now that we know he grew up in a farm, maybe he goes back and starts his own farm to honor his parents. Maybe it's the same farm. Probably not. It's probably just a different farm. But the important thing is he has found peace. And I like that very much. So we don't have everything yet, but we have way more than we did. We have an outline for the main character. We have a lot of world building, more than I expected, actually. And then we have a brand new outline with a lot of new information. Still have a long way to go. This is going to be a long process, but every script is. And that's what this is all about. So hope you enjoyed that. That's our new outline. The end. Yes. Hey, thanks for watching. I know I said 10 minutes, turned into 30 minutes, whatever, sue me. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and more than that, I hope you found it very useful in developing your own script. And we're going to keep doing this and developing this, and maybe eventually we'll have a full feature film that'll be out in theaters everywhere. We'll see. Like and subscribe, because we're going to have more videos, as I mentioned, more of these, but more tip videos and all that kind of stuff. And again, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm going to go disassociate, so I'm not even going to yell at you. See you next time.